What's up guys, it's Andy, and today I might have a riding vlog for you. If you're watching this, that means I posted it, and if you're not watching this, then I'm just talking to myself. So first couple updates. So Gideon's been at the new place for about 3 weeks now, and it's been very hard for him to settle in because there hasn't been much of a routine due to the horrible weather that we've been getting hit with in the Midwest. If it's not 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts or rain or ice or sleet or snow, it's that the pastures have become ice rinks and are no longer, usable right now. So a lot of time inside. He had his first day of turnout would have been where part 3 ended of my moving vlog series. And when I went out to the barn that afternoon, I found out that when G and his new pal Sunny had gone out in their pasture, that Sunny turns out can't go next to mares even though he's a gelding, because he literally got himself tangled in the electric fencing trying to get to the mares on the other side. For as hectic as it was, I guess G was relatively well behaved. He wasn't happy about having to come inside early because the electric to that area was now broken or malfunctioning, and his pal can't go next to mares. So they did get integrated slowly over the course of the next week through half-day turnouts into another herd of 3. And so now they're a herd of 5. And so far things have been going okay. And then G, this would have been not last Saturday, but the previous Saturday, when I went out the Friday night before, he had gotten a scrape or a puncture of some sort on the inside of his left hock. I can insert some pictures here while I'm talking. And it was hot and swollen, so we just hand walked and whatever. And I was going out of town that next day for the next 2 days. And I had someone check on it on Saturday, and it was still swollen, but maybe not as hot. And then Sunday, it blew up into cellulitis. So unfortunately, I had to pay for the vet to come out on an emergency weekend call. So we all know how that went. Luckily, I shouldn't say luckily, but another horse was having potential signs of colic. So they had already a vet coming out to check on that horse, so I just called and added myself on to have it looked at, and I couldn't be there because I was still out of town, but it was definitely some inflammation, infection going on in there, so he was put on SMZs twice a day for 5 days, I think, and then he got bute as well to help with the pain. And so that's, slowly healing up. The swelling went away within 2-ish days. So that brings us to this previous week. So today's Wednesday, so this would have been last week Friday. Gideon had his feet done. And we did also previously last Thursday have our first groundwork lesson because I got a little scared the Saturday before that. So are you following this? Because it's crazy. The Saturday before that, when I was out of town and his leg was hurt, I got a call that he was just inconsolable in his stall, rearing, bucking, trying to kick down the walls. No one could figure out what it was. I didn't realize a new horse had moved into the stall next to him that was previously empty. And they don't like each other. And even now, even as things have settled down, the horse will just give him a look, or will just pin its ears at him, and then they start fighting through the bars. And so I'm trying to correct G on my side to not give into those instigating type activities, and also to try and catch him being the instigator and to put a stop to that. So he's just, and then that horse and the horse down from that one fight. So it's he just wants to it's just a whole fiasco. But we're trying to see if they can work it out, if they can calm down on their own, or if we have to put boards up between them, because obviously safety is first. And I did here, I want to make sure his stall behavior is safe for employees, for them to be working. And if he's trying to fight for food with this horse or whatever, I just don't want anyone to get hurt. So I got super overwhelmed, not knowing why he was freaking out, and I've never heard of him freaking out like that before. So I did instill the help of a trainer who specializes kind of mostly in groundwork and pressure release type training, and just getting them to understand desensitization versus sensitization, like asking to do what you want to do and learning to move off pressure and all those things that it seems like he lacks the groundwork for from his past training. So cool, he jumped 3 foot once, but he doesn't know how to yield off pressure. So we got a rope halter, and we've been working on a 15-foot lunge, just lunging to work the brain and not work the body. And it has night and day with him. It's wild. It just really helped him settle in. And it's given me more confidence, so we're still practicing those things. So that was Thursday night. Then last Friday, I had a half day so that I could meet with the farrier for him. And unfortunately, he may have to go back in shoes. His heels have deteriorated on his left front from previously being in the round pen and just circling, having a lot of pressure on that foot, constantly counterbending on that foot. And the heel on the other 3 hooves are fine. So it is, as the farrier called it, hoof growing season. So if he's going to grow a heel properly, it's going to be now. And he's getting lots of hay, proper nutrition all around the clock. So hopefully we can kind of fix that. But he did get a trim up. And then he played with the big soccer ball, which I have it on my TikTok. So if you want to check that out, my TikTok, I'll post it down here so you can go check that out. And it's been quite a journey. One of the comments I had gotten was, I hope you have a trainer to work with him, and for you to take lessons, you need them. Okay, not a solicited message I wanted, but that was one of the messages I received on moving day. And so as much as I don't want shit like that to bother me, because I've been riding since I was fucking 7 years old. I broke out a 3-year-old Arabian. I've ridden some crazy wild animals, and it's like I have to remember that I was this strong, fearless rider, and just because I'm older doesn't mean I can't still be that. So like, screw that. I had my first ride the other night, but that was just in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let this define me and like have people put bad thoughts in my head. Like, I'm stronger than this. And so we started with the rope halter groundwork under saddle, while he was tacked up, not under saddle. And he was doing relatively good, and there were other people coming and going, and so he's a little distracted, but I mainly got him to do the things I wanted. So I felt safe enough to put his bridle on, get on him. He stood at the mounting block so well, and we rode. It wasn't pretty by any means, and he was really distracted. And now introducing, he got used to himself in the mirror, but now there's a person on top of him in the mirror, and he's watching the reflections of the other horses in the arena in the mirror. And so the mirrors are really distracting for him, but he basically moved forward anytime I asked him to. We did walk, trot, canter both ways, and we did some trot cavalettes just to get his mind thinking a little bit and to get him to move and kind of work his back, because he was really hollow. And so that really got him to bring his back up, and then he felt really nice after that. And so if everything goes as planned, I will be riding tonight, and there will be some footage of it because Alicia's gonna meet me out there. So she will be there, and she will film for me if I end up riding. The horses have been in 2 days again now because of the ice and the snow. We had legit ice rain last night. Like, it rained and froze the minute it hit anything. It was crazy. So they got turnout on Monday, and then the previous week they had a half-day turnout Wednesday. And I don't like just going long periods of time without turnout here. So if he's not in a good mindset, I'm not going to ride, because I don't want to set him up for failure. I think that's kind of silly. Like, let's make the right answer easy. And if his brain's not there, I'm not going to ask the hard questions. So hopefully this video gets posted. Hopefully there's some video footage. I would like to take him over a Cavalletti to jump, because I know that's his favorite thing and he's been missing it, and we just need to get back to a regular regimen. So let's go ahead and head out to the barn. Okay, so like I talked about for my first ride, this is our second ride, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. This is our second ride at the new place. So, as I mentioned with our first ride, the idea that I got from the trainer that I was working with is to get that rope halter on him, get him moving, get him thinking, get his feet going, try and do some cues before I get on and ride to get his attention. So you can see I've asked him to turn towards me and he's super distracted because the door to the arena was opening. Here I'm asking him to back up. He's still distracted. There's a step, pressure is released and he's still not paying attention. So a lot of this groundwork was just trying to get him to focus on me a little bit more and less on the other horses in the arena. So here I'm going to ask him to back again. So there's a good step. So I release, ask again, another step, real tiny, but we want to associate the release of pressure. So here I have to work on myself because I need to drive him out with pull pressure and not pressure from behind. So I have to work on that. I definitely am no guru at any of this, and it's not really practiced at our old barn. So I'm just also learning and practicing and trying my best. So you can see he's still pretty distracted. He's got a little bit of an attitude here. Like I said, they were in for 2 days, so I can't really blame him. So now his feet are moving. He's thinking. I ask him to walk just for a few steps and then back into trot. Want those forward transitions, keep his brain thinking. And we don't want him to think too long in the walk. So now I pull and ask him to come in. A little bit better that time. He's at least looking at me this time, so that's a positive. So I let him come in, give him a reward because that's what I want. He's getting distracted again. So I am constantly reorganizing myself, usually when I switch directions. So now I will ask him to go out and he comes at me instead. And this is where I need to stand my ground. I can't move every time he thinks he's going to run into me. So that's something else I have to work on, but I go ahead and I send him out. I am not blind to the fact that he is a little ouchy on that front left. Like we talked about, he just got trimmed. His heel is not great, but he does work out of it. And part of it is also stiffness from being inside so much the last 2 weeks. It does get better. He is not lame. I am not blind. So here I ask him to come down to the walk again, just a few steps, so that he doesn't get too distracted, back to the trot. And he listened to that really well. I also don't want him to overreact when I ask him to move forward. He can be very flighty on the lunge, so I want nice and calm. Now that was what I wanted. That was a perfect example of how he should turn into me when I give him that overly dramatic and drastic signal. So I ask back, he does it right away. Ask again, does it right away. And that's pretty much where we end because he's pretty focused. I give him a good scratch, and now I think we're comfortable enough to go ahead and start riding. So you'll see he's super chill at the mounting block, still bad habit of walking off. So we'll halt and just everybody takes a breath for a moment, and then we decide when we're going to move. So we still have to work on that. For the riding portions, I will just start by saying we did not jump anything. There was like 3 other people doing groundwork, which the barn rules state only one person can lunge at a time. And unfortunately, only one person was doing lunging work at the time. Other people were doing groundwork, very different things, which kind of kept me stuck down to one end of the arena. So no jumping for us. Went ahead and moved him into the trot pretty much right away. I don't want him to walk around too much and like dilly-dally, get too distracted. The decorations in the viewing windows changed, so he was distracted by that. Again, just getting him used to the mirrors and getting him used to the viewing window area into the tack room. People are constantly going in and out. Lights are on and off, so I just want him to be relaxed. We do a lot of walk to trot to walk transitions just to keep his brain thinking. And he is just the cutest little good boy. I am randomly talking to Alicia while she films for me, but he was doing pretty good. Went ahead to change directions and to ask for the trot. You can see he's a little resistant, but a lot of pressure and release. Spur, release, and as soon as he goes, all of that pressure comes off. And so that was really the only stink he gave me the whole time.
And so here we're just trotting around. I'm not really concerned about his head frame yet. He is still kind of stiff. And so I'm just trying to loosen him up a little bit, lots of circles, trying to stay off of his mouth, just trying to think moving forward, anything to kind of help him relax a little bit, especially with all the other horses in the arena. Just want him to be calm and move forward and no blow ups or anything like that. And here we're just coming around again. This direction's a little more tricky with the viewing window because he cannot see anything in the windows until we're right there. So sometimes people walking around can give him a little bit of a spook. Sometimes people come in through that door without announcing themselves. That has given us a couple spooks, but overall he's been relatively good. And so we just keep practicing going past that window, trying to get down into a bit of a head frame as we warm up. It was very cold on this day again, probably, I don't know, 10 degrees Fahrenheit or less. So lots of trotting, nothing too exciting, and even more trotting. And he's finally starting to loosen up just a little bit. And then we're going to switch directions again. You can see kind of starting to look for the contact there. We switch directions back to the right, getting a little bit of resistance in the corners as far as bending goes, but he is much more stiff to the right, and I'm hoping to build up his muscles. Now that he is in a pasture with friends that he plays with, and it's a nice big pasture that goes all the way down the property line, he is not, pacing in a circle in a round pen, and his stall walking's actually gotten a lot better. So I am hoping that he will build up some normal muscle. So here I ask for the canter. He kind of, with all this time off, has forgotten like how to canter and like move his feet because we don't canter on the lunge when we're trying to work the brain. And so you can see he was a little scrunchy. So I just got off his back and asked him to move forward. And I don't need a long canter. I just want him to respond to the aid, do what I ask, and then come back down. And there he's looking for the contact, which is exactly what I want. So we walk and take a break. Now we're going to go the other direction. So he's a little anticipatory. So we just trot a couple steps. You can see he's a little anxious. I asked him to move forward. He did that really well. And then the door opened, as you can see. So he started to toss his head a little bit, get a little excited. I asked him to move up again, and he did. And then we came back down to trot so he could refocus while the people came in the arena. Because he did move forward when I asked. He did as he was told. So his reward was coming back. Little things. Like I said, been inside for almost 2 weeks solid at this point because of the weather. And so I just wanted to set him up for success. If he does what I ask, I'm not going to ask much more. Here he was really looking a little bit for contact in the walk, which was nice. I'm going to ask him to canter again this direction, something a little bit more productive. After we get a little trot going, because he's very anticipatory this direction. This is the direction he likes to play in the canter a little bit more. So get him trotting just to think a little bit before going. And as we come up here, peep the dog in the window right there, and he was a little spooky at it. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a dog. So we kind of regrouped, waited for the dog to go away, and then asked for the canter again. And here he was a lot more controlled. I was a little more conservative with my seat through there just because in case he wanted to act up again, didn't want to be in a bad position. And so he came back around almost a full lap. I asked him to come back down to the trot just because he got past the point where we had the issue before. And so his reward is after he's done as I asked and done it nicely, we come back down to walk. And I just left in this walk footage because I thought he looked so cute because he was really attentive to the other horses. And yeah, he's just the goodest boy. There was a lot going on. The other horse being lunged down at the other end was doing the dragon nostril breathing. So we stopped just to kind of let him think a little bit, listen, watch, and then we asked him to go back out for a little bit more trot work before we were done. Now, bear in mind, this ride was maybe 20 to 30 minutes long. I just wanted him to get some exercise and then start working on collection and getting some contact. So here on the circle, this was our last circle. He did really well. You can see here, he's going to respond perfectly, just perfect. He was the best.